Hi everybody, Chris Stokes from Custom Fitness Personal Training Studio. Today's topic is injury around activity. Is it a high likelihood? Well, this question came about from someone who was getting started with us, who during their consultation they said, every time that I get started with activity, starting to get fit again, I seem to get hurt. Is that going to happen this time? Is there a way to prevent it? So I was able to assure that person through the experience that I've had in the last 19 years that we do everything within our power to not only keep people safe, obviously, but to customize the workout to their current needs instead of trying to fit them into this mold of where someone else their age or their gender or in their walk of life would be at. Instead, we take them and we customize to their specific needs. So this comes up a lot. It happens more often than you would think. And I remember years ago I had a client, sweet woman, who every time that she started to work out, she would hurt her knees. And they would swell. I mean, you're talking like major injury here. And she would push through. So she'd join these boot camps and she'd join these gyms and she'd go through and push through these workouts, and she would just end up in more and more in pain until she just physically couldn't do it anymore and she had to quit. And it would frustrate her every time because she would start to lose a little bit of weight and then it would come right back on. And there was just nothing that she could find that she could do without hurting her knees. Well, about that time she came to us and same question was posed. This is what happens whenever I work out. How can I prevent it? And I will tell you that over the next 4 years, while she worked out with us, she was able to keep her knees from hurting. Now, there were times of discomfort that we had to work through and figure out, is this something that is okay for the knees? Is this not something that's okay for the knees? And as we worked through that process over the course of 4 years, she was able to not only reach her weight loss goals, but she was able to enhance the health of her knees. Now, she still had bad knees. We can't fix cartilage. That's just something that we either have good cartilage or we have bad cartilage, and what you've done in the past may have damaged what you have, but we can help to strengthen around the joint, to strengthen the muscles, to hold the body better and to do things better. And we can also tailor workouts to where you don't have the impact on certain areas, or you don't have the pull or the strain on certain areas that you would in other workouts. So this kind of got me thinking about the whole idea of injury during physical activity and kind of how that works together. And it made me think back to a couple of trips that I've taken this year. I took one trip to Seattle, which was absolutely amazing. If you've never been there, you should go. And then I took one trip to Colorado, which is one of my favorite places to go. And if you think about it, really both of those places have a lot in common. They both have very active populations, whether it's hiking, lakes, skiing. You've got just about every type of terrain. Up in Seattle, the most amazing thing to me was that they can do just about every sport up there, like at all times during the year. I think while we were there in the course of a week, we saw snow, we saw rain, we saw sunshine. It was cold, it was warm, it was just a little bit of everything. And so you can do just about all sports there. So why would I bring that up? Well, the thing is that as we drove around these places, the number one thing that I saw, where most places when you go, you're going to see gyms and restaurants and all that kind of stuff. The one thing that stuck out to me this time was physical therapy buildings. So businesses supporting people through therapy. There was one on every corner, especially up in Seattle. And it was just very interesting to see the correlation between the active population and the need for physical therapy. So you might think, well, if I'm going to be active and get hurt, why would I want to do it? Well, let's look at why we're getting hurt whenever we're being active. Part of the problem is we sit all day long, right? We stare at computers, we stare at our phones, we have terrible posture, our head's always forward, our back's always round, our core, well, people complain about their tummy not looking the way it needs to all the time, but part of the problem of that is we just don't ever hold it in. And if we don't hold it in, we can't protect ourselves, and that's what those muscles are there for in the first place, is to protect us. So when we go from a sedentary lifestyle where we're sitting all day not doing anything into an active lifestyle, our body has certain requirements that maybe it's adapted to not doing, right? Example of this is a friend of mine who's a trainer outside of Texas. We were talking one day and he was telling me about a few years back whenever he had started training, and this woman came straight from work, so she blew in for this workout, managed to get a little bit warmed up, went straight into a side shuffle series, which is kind of like a side step with a hop type of movement, like you would do, say, in football conditioning, things like that. Went into a side shuffle series, and on like the third shuffle, her ankle buckled and she fell down, broke her wrist. Well, obviously a terrible situation for both the woman and the trainer. Didn't go well. But as we look into that, we figure out the body and the brain aren't connected in that realm. Moving side to side is not something that we do during the day, which is a reason that I make my clients work on side to side movements and front to back movements. Because all the time we're moving from rear to forward, but we rarely move backward. We rarely move to the side. Rarely do we move at a diagonal. If we walk out to our car, get in our car, we walk forward. We turn to the side, we sit down. We stand up out of our car to walk in the building. We stand up, turn around, walk forward. We might go up some stairs if we're lucky, but for the most part, we move forward all day long. And when we're not moving forward, we're sitting still. So what does that tell our brain? Well, our brain sends messages through nerves to every muscle in our body, right? And it adapts very easily, just like the rest of our body, to whatever our current situation is. So if more often than not, you're sitting down at a desk, not doing movement in different patterns, then more often than not, the brain is going to turn off those responses to help your body know what to do if you start to go sideways. And that was exactly what happened to this woman. So basically the neuroreceptors in her ankle had turned off the lateral.
Take advantage of the government mandate and put the savings back in your pocket. Try our new unlimited processing, unlimited transaction program for one flat fee. No more surprises each month. If you'd like to learn more about this program, press 1 now on your keypad. If you'd like to be removed from this calling list, press 2.
So more often than not, as we sit still all day long, those neuroreceptors are turned off, and it prevents our body from knowing what to do should we need to move laterally quickly or diagonally or to the rear. Our body just doesn't know how to move quickly in that and respond to that setting. So we want to make sure that we're always warming up through the body the right way, and that's preparing for the movements that we're about to do. And that's something that we work with on our clients. We know what program they're about to do. We make sure that the body's warmed up, not only physically through the muscles, but also through the neuroreceptors to make sure that everything is ready to go to move the body. And had that woman done a little bit of neuroreceptor warm-up type movements, which would be more like a dynamic warm-up, then it would be less likely that she would have gotten injured. Now, never say that it's 100%. We really try very hard as fitness professionals in general to keep people safe. That's our job. But injuries can happen. So, yes, you can get hurt, but can you keep from getting hurt? Yes. What are 3 top things that you need to look for? We need to make sure that we have appropriate programming, that the programming is meant for you and your body, not 50 other people. We've got to make sure that where you're starting from makes sense for you to be at, that we're not trying to push you beyond your own limitations. We have to make sure that we have appropriate intensity for your workout, that you're not starting out from sitting at a desk all day long to this is your first workout and we're having you jump through hoops. We want to make sure that the intensity is appropriate for where you're starting from, and again, customized to your specific level at this moment in time. We need to make sure that it's got appropriate frequency. This is something that a lot of people don't think about. They think, I'm going to hit the gym hard, I'm going to lose this weight, so I'm going to go every day. Well, if you haven't been doing anything recently, going every day at full blast intensity may not be your best bet. Now, if you're alternating between, say, a high intensity day and something lower intensity like a recovery workout, maybe like yoga or Pilates, that's one thing. But whenever you're going in and you're doing HIIT training 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, we've got to make sure and line that up. If you're doing the elliptical every day, same thing. We're getting a movement pattern forward all the time. It might be too much for the body. We definitely need to change up the pattern. We might need to change up the frequency. So keeping those 3 things in mind whenever you're starting to get into a new routine, do I have appropriate programming? Do I have appropriate intensity? And do I have appropriate frequency? Making sure that you're kept safe as you start to build your body to being healthy and fit. If we can help you to build a healthier, more fit body and create a done-for-you program where we can coach you through form and technique and make sure that you are having everything customized to your specific level, feel free to give us a call, 806-322-3188. We'd love to help you out.